Look, Mom, look.
Look what I learned to do.
So I'm obviously using a lot of body pressure, not just arms anymore. It's really using the whole torso.
Really got to lean into it.
Yeah.
Work
So I'm
those
using a
abs.
lot of the muscle groups that you would normally have to use if you're just throwing bowls or cups. Because you got to keep stationary. You got to keep your whole body from shaking and bouncing around.
In college, did you take like classes?
Yeah, they offer. In college you can take workshops and all kinds of classes where they specifically focus on one technique. Like you can take a class just on wood firing. You can take a class just on throwing large forms and how you can do it different ways. Because there's, throwing a large platter like this or something like this takes a lot of practice. So you can spend a whole semester just throwing large forms and having, what you turn in at the end of the semester as a result of all that hard work. But
That's what I want to do next semester.
so I'm trying to really just spread it out as far as I can on the bat. Sometimes the bats dictate how big the base is going to be. If I had a larger bat, I might even throw it even wider for the bottom. And then you'd have more and more surface to trim later because of that wide base. But based on the bats that we have, I can only go so far without it falling off. So I really focus on the top of the mound, making sure that's really centered. Feels like it's not even moving in my
Josh.
hand. It's going to glide without any kind of
I know,
bumps.
he's so white.
And then keep that slip so it doesn't snag or grab my hand. And it's really about making sure that this is ready to making sure that this is as prepared as possible before you open it up. Because once you open it, you can't really go back. Then
Agreed.
If you open it incorrectly, then you're in trouble. You gotta make sure that this is the part that you keep really centered. Did I get everybody to come over now? Just a couple missing my throwing demo? That's alright.
Those are the non-dedicated ones.
No, they're dedicated.
Nobody wants CC over here anyways.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Weiss, yeah. Can I put this on YouTube?
So I want to make sure I leave enough clay for a bottom, because I know I want to trim a foot. That's going to have a little bit of height to it. Because I got to wrap that foot with a wire ring so I can actually mount it on the wall. So if I don't leave enough clay, I don't have enough clay to actually trim away. And then it won't work out.
How long of video can you send?
That's too long.
There's like
You
3
can turn
hours.
it down.
I don't want to trim it. Whoa, Weiss, you're getting some gnarly
Don't you worry.
pockets there. Is that overhanging?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's right on it.
Some professional. Okay, hold this real quick. I'll be right back.
$10 he comes back with Cheeto. Okay, so I want a flat but subtle little bit of a curve at the bottom here.
And he did.
Had to show him, huh?
He wanted to see it.
Yeah, he had no idea what was happening.
I don't want to give your spot back.
I know.
Okay, so I got a base here that I like, right? And then I want to check that measurement again, see if I have enough clay. Probably a little more than I want. So I can kind of. And then I'm trying to make sure that I don't let the clay get out too far before I start to pull it up. Because if I do, I'll run the risk of letting it just flop right over. Because if it starts getting pushed out, the whole wall starts getting angled out already. It's going to be a problem later. So I want to make sure that I
Be a
throw
little
the clay
floppy.
back in. And then I'm going to
Nobody likes it sloppy and floppy.
squeeze the clay a little bit with my thumb. Like this. So kind
A
of
little bit
squeezing the clay a little bit. And then I want to get a good ledge.
Do you have any signature moves, Weiss?
You're seeing them.
All right.
Push in right there. Get that ledge going.
The Rigel technique, everybody.
Just the technique. Try not to soak the clay too much. Hold your breath. Okay. What's that Coliseum? That's Coliseum. No Romans in here. Fight to the death.
Whoa, Weiss. It was a little too far.
Right? So I want to get at least 2-3 major pulls before I start to shape it. Try to get all that weight down at the bottom, up into the wall. So I don't just make a giant heavy bowl. I want to make a nice uniform and light wall thickness.
It's so centered too. It's because you pull so evenly.
It almost, if you get the first pull right, if you have it the right pace and everything, the second pull almost kind of
Guides
almost
itself.
goes itself. Yeah, it almost does it on its own. You just kind of have to keep that same pace.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you get the right spot. And I'm going to push a little bit more with my inside hand. Get that last pull. And I'm really only using the water that's already on the piece. I don't need to keep going to the bucket. I mean, if you look, there's not a lot of water in the pan around the actual pot because all of it's sitting inside.
Recycling.
Recycle.
Okay, last one probably here.
A
Pulling
moist
it.
sponge.
Leaving the
Oh,
ridge a
that's a
little
good-
bit thicker, leaving that lip a little thick,
Get that.
because I gotta stretch
what?
that out some more, and I don't want that to become a
What?
weak spot.
That
If I leave it too thin, it'll get thinner and thinner as I stretch it out. So that'll become a problem later, it's gonna wanna fall over and collapse on me. Are you doing the predator noise? Okay, and when you work with this much clay,
It'd be
your
so funny in the
tools,
video.
your tools change a little bit. Okay, the size and the scale of them have to change, so when you're normally throwing with a smaller rib,
Oh,
you're gonna have to use a bigger rib.
How much do you
Out of
think you could?
nowhere.
How much do you think you could sell that for? That big piece like that?
I don't know.
Oh yeah. Huh?
Uh,
Yeah,
couple
but
hundred- couple $100.
You haven't sold your work in a while, right? Like
Yeah.
it's been a few years.
Yeah, I haven't had much to sell yet. And then, I forgot. I need to make the undercut now before I take it off for certain.
Wire needle tools right there.
Can't see it there. Can you get me one of those wooden? Somebody get me one of those wooden modeling tools that comes to kind of a point, like the little
Here.
in the back over there. So I'm gonna take a little of this clay off right. This one with a good point, a good kind of knife-looking edge.
It's 12 minutes long right now.
Okay. It's taking me 12 minutes to do this. Get it slow.
There's two, and you can choose.
So I'll do this little undercut right here. Just take a little of that clay off. It's flat right up against the edge.
The bowl makes you look really small.
The ball. You look-
Yeah.
Actually, really does too.
So these wire ribs, or these metal ribs, these are stainless steel ones. I have some more of them if you want to start working on bigger pieces, but really stiff compared to those little super thin
Like the
ones like
smaller
these
ones?
ones. See, these ones are really strong, but if you don't take care of them, they'll start to rust because they're not actually stainless steel. They're just steel ribs, but they work really well for large pieces. So I'm doing the bottom here first. Why?
Because you want to.
Why should I be ribbing the bottom?
Press it.
Yes, compress it so it won't do what later?
Blow up.
Crack.
S-crack. Yes. Big S cracks. When you work with large pieces like
Colby.
this, you've gotta compress this stuff. You gotta work back and forth all over the surface, over and over again. So when you're done with a big piece like this, and it dries out, you don't come back to it the next day with a giant crack through the middle of it. Even though you trimmed it and everything, you wouldn't notice it until afterwards. Okay, I'm gonna work on the wall. Try to get those throwing grooves out of there. Start to lay it down. I don't want to make the clay any thinner by pulling it, so now it's just going to happen when I'm actually stretching the clay out.